You're listening to the Outer Banks This Week podcast, a place for people to hear what's going on up and down the beach and to get the truth about what really goes on around the Outer Banks. So, are you ready? Here we go.
All right. Thank you so much, Wes, for that wonderful introduction. Wes, let me give him a quick little shout out. Man of many talents. All right. He's a videographer. He's got a great voice. He's just an all around great guy. Love me some Wes. Thank you for that, buddy. Outer Banks This Week podcast, all brought to you by Kelly's Automotive in Manio. I was looking over his inventory the other day. He's got Jeeps, cars, trucks, SUVs, and he's got sheds too. He's got sheds of all shapes and sizes. If it has doors, it can be yours at Kelly's Automotive in Manio. And I believe he's going to be on the podcast with me next week. So I really look forward to that. You can visit him online at kellysobxauto.com. Oh, gosh. All right. We are on episode 59 of the podcast. We're solidly into the month of April. I'm thinking, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm thinking that we have the chilly weather, the not so great weather is kind of behind us. Yeah, we're still going to have showers and thunderstorms, maybe a few more nor'easters as we get into the spring. And of course, hurricane season comes up in June. But as far as temperature is concerned, I think things are going to start swinging a little bit more upwards. It's looking like the rest of this week. Now, keep in mind, it is 6:30 on a Tuesday morning when I'm recording this. The rest of this week's looking nice temperature-wise. 70s. I think we might hit 80s in some different places. But again, things are starting to swing up around here, so it's going to be nice. Solidly into the month of April. Lots of crazy things happened over the weekend. March Madness. Congratulations to UConn, first back-to-back national champions that we've had since, what was it? The Florida Gators in like 2007, 2008, or 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. I can't remember, but one thing I do know is they won, and so did Lauren Hooker, wife of Chef Hooker from the Chef's Table at New Vines. She is the bracketology winner for our bracketology pool. So she is Miss Bracketology, so shout out to Miss Lauren Hooker real quick. Wrestlemania was over the weekend. I, of course, participated in a Wrestlemania party that my boss had. My boss man, Phil, at his house, had a Wrestlemania party. And, of course, I went over and watched WrestleMania with him. We had a projector and a big screen, and WrestleMania was great this year. Congratulations to Cody Rhodes being the new Universal Champion, all that fun stuff that he did. Great, yippee-ki-yay. I still feel like Roman should have won, but you know what? It is what it is. But WrestleMania was cool. I will say this. Paul Heyman, the wise man to Roman Reigns. Now, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I know some of you are like, gosh, this dude's talking about wrestling. Well, Paul Heyman made a quote during his induction ceremony into the WWE Hall of Fame, and he said, "Only you can cancel you." And he went on to talk about how he had been canceled over and over by so many different or in so many different ways in the wrestling industry, but he kept coming back bigger and stronger, you know? And I thought about that. It's like, only you can cancel you. Nobody else can cancel you but you. That is so true. I was thinking about the times that I've been canceled in my career in the communications world, I guess we can say. I was canceled from 2 different media outlets, 2 different places. They canceled me. And now here I am again, back, bigger, and stronger. So that was really inspirational to me, really motivational to me. And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to get canceled. You can try to cancel me. People are going to try to cancel me the rest of my life, I know, in so many different ways other than in like the work environment. Hoping I don't get canceled here because I did look at my boss the other day. I was like, that was pretty cool. I was like, you going to cancel me? And he's like, no. I was like, my man. At least I hope not. So that was really cool. So to anybody that may be struggling right now, getting knocked down over and over, keep getting back up. Okay, that's just a little motivational thing on this episode of the podcast for you. Because honestly, it's the strong that survive in this world. It's just the way it is. You got to be strong. You got to get up and keep moving forward. Don't let yourself get canceled. All right. The Eclipse. The Eclipse. Or the Obi-Clipse, as I was calling it. It was definitely cool to look at. Well, of course, I think we were at 75% coverage here on the Outer Banks, something like that, 70%. Somebody's going to correct me, and that's fine. Please correct me, because I paid attention to it, but I didn't invest a lot of energy into it. I did get out because I'm a little fun fact about me. I'm a certified welder by trade. Now, I haven't struck an arc in probably 6 or 7 years, but that's what I went to school for when I was living in Florida. And I got out my old welding hood and I set the shade to shade. It was an auto darkening hood, set the shade to a shade 12. I gave it to my wife. She looked at the Eclipse with it. I looked at the Eclipse with it. My son had his own glasses that were given to him at school, which hats off to Dare County schools, especially Manny Elementary School. I believe the PTO bought Eclipse glasses for them. So that was really cool. But he had his own, so he was looking at it through that. And to be honest with you, I mean, it was cool to see, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's the Eclipse. We're not in the realm of totality. Now that word is stuck to me right now, and I feel like I should say it in a British accent. Totality. Totality. Doesn't that sound like something like people in England? Totality. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about, remember the game Mortal Kombat, and if you won in a certain way, it was fatality. Maybe I'm thinking about it like that, but I just feel like I should say it in like an English accent. Totality. That was a horrible English accent, I know. But hey, you get what I'm saying. I've also heard some weird things about people acting strange ways because of the Eclipse. Man, I don't believe there's any science to that. I don't believe that there is. If there is, I want to see it. I want somebody to send it to me. Podcast at AdamBanksThisWeek.com, because I was listening to a local radio program here on the Outer Banks, and the individuals that were speaking were talking about how, at that time they felt weird, or the one individual felt weird because of that time of the day or whatever, and they were in the car on their way to somewhere. Anyway, I was like, I didn't feel any sort of way. To be honest with you, if I didn't know that an eclipse was happening, I would have never thought anything any different that day, yesterday, the day of the eclipse. Like I said, it's Tuesday morning at 6:30. I'm recording all of this. But I didn't feel any sort of way. I mean, again, it was kind of neat to see, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, the eclipse, totality. It wasn't anything like that for me. So, I mean, I'm sorry if I ruined the excitement for somebody else, but I will say, if you were in that path of totality and you got some cool pictures, send them to me. I'll put them on our Facebook page, podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Send me an email with them in there. Or if you have a different opinion about it, podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. I'm all about open opinions. I don't know that there's any science to prove that certain things happen certain ways. I know like the animals may act differently, but as far as people are concerned, I don't know, man. I'm a little skeptical about all that. But anyway, we digress. Let's go back. All right. We got Chelsey and Bradley coming in here from High Seas Pools and Spas in just a little bit. We're going to talk to them about the pool business and how they are trying to stay ahead of the curve in the pool business and how they keep ahead of everything. Different stories like dirty water sucks. That's their slogan. How did they get that slogan? Okay. What it is, they have this thing called the octo arm filtration, how all that stuff works. I'm really curious because there was a period of time when I tried to clean pools and I just wasn't good at it. I don't know that I wasn't good at it. It's just, I would always forget something. I would go on a clean or a midweek check and I would forget to do something. And then my boss would call me and get upset. And it's like, you know what, this just isn't for me. So I want to thank them for coming in. First of all, they'll be here in a little bit, but I'm really interested to hear what they have to say. And they're doing something with the aquarium too, which sounds pretty cool. So we'll talk to them more about that in a little bit. News, not really anything in the news other than the eclipse here on the Outer Banks, which, like I said, it was cool to look at, but I wasn't completely like, I wasn't anything like that. But I will tell you, for all the latest news, go to SamWalkerOBXNews.com. Listen to Sam and M's podcast. I'm a few episodes behind, Sam. If you're listening right now, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm a few episodes behind. I got to get caught up. But they do have a great podcast. He and his wife do a fantastic job. Fantastic people. I love them very much, and I can't say enough nice things about them. So if you get an opportunity, the Sam and M podcast, and make sure you go over and subscribe to his news, SamWalkerOBXNews.com. I want to thank Matt and Holden for coming in last week. They are getting geared up. I believe it's not this week. It's next week. The Round on the Sound golf tournament is going to be taking place in Kerala at the Currituck Club. That's going to be a lot of fun, good benefit. The Epic program that they created at Outer Banks Boil Company, really, really cool thing. You know, Matt and all the individuals that pour back into this community. It's wonderful. And Holden, gosh, can't say enough great things about them either. I feel like a broken record sometimes because just this place is surrounded with great people. There's so many great people on the Outer Banks. And the fact that they love their community as much as I do and as much as everyone else, it's wonderful. I love it. So I want to thank them for coming in again. Someone else that loves this community, especially our local waters, is old Captain Marty. Captain Marty, again, his fishing reports. He's got his own channel on our website. You go to the Outer Banks This Week website, outerbanksthisweek.com, click on the Captain Marty tab on the left hand of the screen, or if you hit the drop down, there's 3 little lines, hit the drop down menu, go down and tap Captain Marty, and you can listen to his fishing reports, okay? And his stories. We're putting his stories up as well. So really glad to have him on board with us. It's been a lot of fun having him do things with us, and there's more things to come with Captain Marty. So rest assured, we will have more Marty. Hashtag more Marty. All right, jumping into some shout-outs real quick. I only have 2 this week, but I do want to encourage you, if you're a listener to the podcast or you got any suggestions for anything, or you have just comments, concerns, something like that, you feel like I'm screwing this up, you feel like everything's going great, let me know. Podcast at outerbanksthisweek.com. I want to shout out real quick first to a gentleman by the name of Chris Daly. I think that's his name, Chris Daly. I was informed by one of our publisher, her name is Beth Story here at Outer Banks. Any articles that go out online or in our magazines, Beth Story, they go across her desk first, and she approves them. Beth has a bed and breakfast attached to her house, and someone had called and was inquiring, I believe, and it was Mr. Chris, and he, in passing conversation, mentioned to her that he listened to the podcast, and I was like, nice! That's awesome. So, Mr. Chris, thank you for being a listener to the podcast, and maybe when you get down this way, link up, have a cup of coffee, or whatever. I don't know. I don't drink coffee, so we'd have to do something else. But hey, thank you for listening. Look forward to meeting you sometime. I also want to shout out to the owner of Mama Kwan's. His name is Kevin Cherry. Now, Mr. Kevin did something really cool recently. There was a lady, I believe she was in West Virginia, and she was hospice. They had to call in hospice for, I don't know, I think she had cancer. I don't know what kind, but she wasn't far from leaving this world. And one of her last wishes was to have the pork plate from Mama Kwan's in Nags Head. And he got wind of it and drove this pork plate to her. He did. That is so cool, man. Like I said, that speaks to the heart of this area. That right there is something worth mentioning. And even though he didn't do it for the glory, he didn't do it for any sort of fame, he didn't do it for any other reason than to satisfy this woman's dying wish. Before she left this world, she wanted to have that pork plate, and she got it. He drove it to her just so she could have it. And I believe he kept it hot the entire way there, which is kind of a miracle in itself. But I don't know that to be factual. However, I still want to give him a shout out. Mr. Kevin Cherry, owner of Mama Kwan's. I tip my cap to you today, sir, for being just an awesome human being. That is cool. That is cool. And again, so let me extend this out a little bit. If you know someone in the community here on the Outer Banks, or like I said, you listen to the podcast and you want to shout out, let me know. Podcast at outerbanksthisweek.com. Or like I said, nominate someone for a shout out here in the community. That would be cool. If there's somebody, if you come here on vacation, for example, and you know someone, there's somebody that you come see every single year, they keep you coming back to their business or whatnot. Every single year you say hey to them, email me and let me know. Let me give them a shout out. That's worthy of praise. That they meant that much to you, that you come back to make sure you see that person every year. Podcast at outerbanksthisweek.com. All right. Well, coming up in just a few moments, we're going to speak to Chelsey and Bradley from High Seas Pools and Spas. But before we do that, new sponsor to the podcast this week, Carolina Girls Sport Fishing, Captain Jesse Anderson out of Hatteras Harbor Marina. We are going to hear more from her right now.
Are you ready for a fishing thrill like no other?
Oh, there he is! There he is! Oh, got him up!
As seen on WikiTune at Outer Banks, the Carolina Girl, captained by majestic Jesse Anderson, is a custom, luxurious, 53-foot Jarrett Bay built boat running out of Hatteras Harbor Marina. Let Jesse and her crew give you a fishing experience of a lifetime. book a trip, go online to CarolinaGirlsSportFishing.com. Carolina Girls Sport Fishing, your offshore adventure awaits.
All right, as promised, I have Mr. Bradley and Miss Chelsey in here from High Seas Pools and Spas, and I've been kind of looking forward to this myself, simply for the fact that I tried at one point in time to clean pools and do it. I say tried because I wasn't very good at it. I'm just going to be honest. Like, the guy that trained me, nice guy, I can't remember his name to save my life right now, and all my properties were in Hatteras, and it was a long drive, a lot of driving there, but like, I don't know. Like, I would think that I was like, I would leave a property, and then I guess the real estate company would call my boss and be like, your pool guy forgot to do this. And I would always forget something, whether it be the chlorine tablets or whatever that go in the
feeder.
Yeah. That's like just those different things. And like, same thing with like, and it would get especially aggravating for me again whenever I would have a hot tub, and that thing would be, you would take the cover off of it and it would be just dirt bag filthy, and I have to drain the whole thing, and I'm like, man, dang, come on, can't y'all just be clean? Because dirty water sucks. Oh, wait a minute, I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about how you all got started in this business. Mr. Bradley, we'll start with you. Now, you grew up here. This is home for you. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
So I grew up in Corolla, which
Okay.
is, back in the day, it was, I think, 210 people in that town, one light town. So
Okay.
it's a real dead-end road. But it allowed me to get the influx of people from all over the country and get to meet new people and really kind of hone into what it is I wanted to do in life. And because, like I said, I got to talk to people from all different lives and jobs and backgrounds. And I found that I wanted to be on the Outer Banks. I didn't want to leave. I'd done my travels and came back home and found this place, which really was a gym that, it was hard to recognize as a child, but you come back as an adult and you realize, this is the kind of place I do want to raise my children. And this is the kind of place I do want to settle down in. It is that slower, small town vibe still where, you know everybody. But what's led me into pools later in life was I got tired of working on the beach. I did, the cabana services. I got into lifeguarding, and I realized that I still wanted to live by the ocean and work in water. I just didn't want to be on the beach every single day in the water.
Right. Okay.
So a couple of years back, I'd started getting into pools, and just like everybody else who gets in, like you said, the first couple of years they're a little rough, and there's not a lot of information out there aside from the general class. And every single pool guy has their own way of doing things. There is the commonalities of this has to be done on the pool deck, but the approach to it varies. I mean, literally by every person.
Okay.
So as you walk onto a pool deck, every person has their own
nuances
I think,
to it. Yeah, or
you
their
know?
own like processes.
Yeah, what they
and
think
preferences.
is what works best for them, and that is it's what makes this industry very interesting, because you really do get to see innovation from every different level. You have gentlemen who come in on a very innovative platform of plumbing, where they'll find a problem and they'll find a way around it. And you see it here, I think, more so than most places because of the lack of products that we always have available. So, there are times where you just quite simply don't have that product, and you have to call on either your community, of other pool guys, or you really got to get innovative and just figure it out. Because as we know, the summer don't stop, the rentals don't quit coming.
They don't.
And our job is to keep those pools clean and open.
There you go. That's right. Now let's throw the microphone over here to Miss Chelsey real quick. Now, Miss Chelsey, how did you get involved in all of this?
So I have an interesting background. I mean, Bradley and I actually met each other when we were 15 and 14 on the beach. So yeah, he was doing some chair cabana services. I guess it's kind of that young love thing.
He was a cabana boy?
He was a cabana boy.
He was a cabana boy.
Yeah, and I was
Okay.
vacationing here. And I think we kind of caught each other's eyes young, and then over the years, have really enjoyed each other and got together a little later in life. Now I have this awesome family, but this awesome pool business. So my background is actually like in PR, marketing, and events. And just in being with Bradley and moving down to Outer Banks and being here, I kind of got thrown into the pool business, which is really interesting because it's so, starkly different from what I do. But it's nice. It gets me outside. It gets me, it's not always nice, but it does get me outside.
Right.
It gets me working in things. So it's interesting. And as, at this stage in my life, to be learning about a whole different industry from what I've done it's such an interesting career change.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about let's jump right into the business now.
Yeah.
What really, there's so many different pool cleaning businesses and operations and everything here on the Outer Banks. Now, what is it that sets you all apart from the rest of the pack? What separates you from the pack? I guess we should say. What do they say? What do my guys say in the movie The Hangover? The wolf pack or whatever.
Yeah, the wolf pack, the three best friends.
Yes, there we go.
Absolutely. No, I think so. One of the things that sets us apart is we actually a couple years ago we went out and we were looking for a better way to make communication a lot better for our clients. A lot of people don't really live here. They have houses here. They vacation here. So we were looking for a better way to make communication better for those clients. And we've actually brought in a customized technology that allows us to provide real-time service updates to our clients.
Okay. What now this technology, how does that operate now? Is it just gives you an opportunity to reach them a lot quicker, a lot faster with, up to the minute updates kind of thing?
It does. So it's an app that we have. We've worked with an app builder to build this. It's something that we give to all of our clients. And not only do the homeowners get to use it, but rental managers get to use it as well. And that really cuts down on a lot of communication time where they're trying to follow up and say, hey, I've got a check-in and they're complaining. They say this pool isn't clean. They're really upset. We can actually send them a real-time service updates with pictures and reports that show that pool actually was clean. So it's such a unique and, very great way to progress our industry down here. And I would say that's definitely our biggest thing that sets us apart. And there's a lot of other companies who are doing it as well. They're bringing it in, but we're really excited to, be on the forefront of this.
Now, do you only use do you only work with people that have rental houses? Do you do anything talk to me about that?
No, we work with everybody from business owners in the local community all the way to people who live in different countries. We truly see it all here. It is a true variance of people. We have quite literally, the guy that works at their local grocery store who has a pool in his backyard. We got no problem helping him just the same as we're going to help somebody who has an oceanfront house.
Okay.
Everybody's important to us. Everybody deserves to be able to enjoy their pool with their family, friends, or their renters.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So now what is it, this flex rentals that I'm reading about? It says focus on flex rentals. What do you mean by that exactly?
So that's kind of interesting. The rental industry in Outer Banks, we'll give you some back end on some pool jargon, if you will.
Please.
So as a pool, maintenance or service company, there's a couple different kinds of, homes or contracts that we service. We do ones that are called private, homes, and those are homeowners that live here or they just don't rent their property out. Maybe it's a second home and they don't rent it out. Then we do rentals. And the old school way of doing rentals in Outer Banks, and, it's still this way, was to typically do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekly turnover. That's what we've all been used to, whether it was the cleaning industry, pool maintenance, rental management. But within the last 10 years, specifically the last 5 years, I'm sure you've seen Airbnb has taken off here. Vrbo has taken off here. And that method of weekly rentals has changed where people can come in like a hotel and just rent 3 days at a time, 4 days at a time. And it doesn't have to be on a particular turn day is what we used to call it.
Yes.
So a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It could be any day. And those are actually called flex or flexible rentals. And what it did was it came in and it really put this, hatch in the schedule of how pool people worked. And we've actually worked out a service model that focuses on accommodating those where we have different techs that can assist no matter what day it is. So flex rentals, it's a really cool thing for homeowners and it's great for us because we now have a way to really handle that and make sure that they're taken care of.
That's beautiful. That's definitely a cool thing. I know it's something that will definitely resonate with a lot of folks. Like you said, over the last 5 years, it narrowing it down a little bit. That the Vrbo and the Airbnb is really taken over in a lot of regards. So with that, being able to work with them and work on those schedules that's important. That's really important.
We were Airbnb owners at one point down here, right? As that was starting to come in, we've had our own experiences with that. In addition to just working with homeowners. So it is really important. And I think change is always going to happen here in Outer Banks. And I think our goal is to be on the forefront of that. And let's shape that so that, we can manage it the right way.
That and it benefits everybody in the community who's working for it.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
It is. All right. So let's talk about the education part. So you have to do certain things in order to be qualified, or is qualified, certified?
I think both.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn a lot of stuff. One of the best forms of knowledge is obviously hands-on, handed down from people. I think that, is mostly how Bradley learned, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I definitely learned on the first-hand experience basis. Back when I got into it, it was truly, learn by hellfire.
Okay.
They really threw you in, 16 properties, make it happen. If there's repairs, make it happen. And you really had to figure it out by the seat of your pants. Now, thankfully, a couple of years later, we have gotten much more refined to that. When you go to step into this job now, there is a lot more support involved, not only from the people who are doing the hiring, but from the community in general. There is it's really interesting because while everybody is in competition with one another, it is one of the most interestingly supported industries I've ever witnessed, where I've walked onto a job and seen 3 or 4 different company owners in a hole digging out one of their friends because something went terribly wrong. So in that aspect, it has come a long, long way. Also, things like the equipment have finally started to change. For before, we were using hoses and standard pool vacs the same way for 20 years, and we're finally getting something new to try to reshape the way we do the pools and clean them and just take care of them in general.
Okay.
The industry's finally starting to kind of come along in a sense. So for the new guys coming in, there's so much more technology and just things to help them out on that platform that was not there prior.
Okay.
So it really is a nice progression, and it's really exciting to see the young guys that are coming in getting more support from the older generation of, hey, it used to be kind of like a guarded secret as to how it all was taken care of.
Yeah.
And now it is much more, everybody's come to the understanding, the more everybody knows, the better we can run this as a whole.
And from an education standpoint, one of the biggest things that I think people will hear and see is the CPO certification. So you're a certified pool operator. And that's kind of that baseline course that, it's been available for a long time, but I think it's gained a lot of popularity lately. There's a lot of, companies that offer it. You can go over to the COA and take it over there. But that gives you your baseline understanding of everything from, safety operation methods, water chemical balance, because the back end of doing pools, it's not just going and skimming the top of the water off. That is an aspect to it. It's not just cleaning sand off a deck. There's a lot you have to know. You got to be a smart person to understand water chemistry, and you got to be a smart person to understand how the equipment flows together and what is and is not safe, because you have renters or, people who live here that are coming in and they're going to use this pool and this equipment. And if you do something wrong, it could implicate their health. It could hurt them. And we don't want to be liable for that. We want to make sure whatever we're doing is safe. And it's, the best methods that we have out here. So I think CPO courses are great. And there's so much more education. We're always doing different types of education opportunities, whether it's in the field. There's conferences that we attend that we love to go. Yeah.
It seems like y'all are constantly trying to stay ahead of the curve.
We are. Absolutely.
Trying to find a better way to do it, a safer way for people, that kind of thing. That's beautiful that you're trying to be that pioneer and that spearhead, I guess we should say, into that.
There's a few guys down here who are also doing that, which is really cool. So we got to see a handful of some of our colleagues up at a conference that we do in Atlantic City, which is great to really see Outer Banks as a community. Get out of Outer Banks, go to an educational opportunity, take that seriously, and then be able to bring all this technology and education back to our island, which is so important. And anything from hands-on opportunities here to online education, that aspect of it is really important to us to make sure that we're always bringing the best of what we can find and learn to Outer Banks.
That's beautiful. See, and that's the thing. You're willing to go outside of here to see what's working elsewhere and maybe be able to find a way to apply it here. Because, we are kind of different in some regards, but it's like you said, some of the chemistry and the science behind what you all do, I would feel like it's pretty universal.
That's the CPO course. It's the baseline understanding of water chemistry and how to take care of, the property. But I will tell you, this place truly is a niche market because it functions in a manner like no place else in the country does.
Right.
And I've talked to gentlemen from all over, from California to Florida to Louisiana up to Maine. We truly function in a aspect that, the whole other country doesn't work like this place.
Gotcha.
It really is its own monster. We turn equipment over here like most people don't because of the weather. In other places you might get 5 years out of a motor. It's not uncommon to see a motor going 3 years here.
Wow. Okay.
And that's hard for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah.
And the users. Think about the user standpoint. How many people come to these homes and like jump in these pools on days where it's 105 and there's jellyfish, you know,
they go
on the
back to
beach, and they're
jellyfish,
using
yes.
the pool all day. And,
Or they run back and forth from the beach to the pool
Yes.
and wonder how 6 pounds of sand gets in there.
No, yeah.
These places really do get hammered into the ground. So the guys who are taking care of this place, I mean, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good.
Those midweek checks can be pretty intense.
They
super
can get pretty gnarly.
Yeah, they're super
That they
important.
can.
Let's talk about. So you're just talking about the 6 pounds of sand. I mean, that can create some pretty interesting looking water. And I've heard this term, "dirty water sucks." Where did that come from? How did you come up with that? Tell me this story, Chelsey. I understand
That's a good one.
That's
something
really
has
fun.
to do with you.
Okay, so when I first started doing pools, we'll say this was like almost a decade ago, I think, at this point, right?
We're coming up on 7-8 years now.
We're
for
coming
your
up on
first time on
7-8
a pool
years.
day.
Yeah. So we went out. It was actually like similar time to where we are now,
Okay.
early April, and it was, I guess, what they call beach week, senior beach week, or college beach week.
yes.
So that's the downside. I mean, you know, this story is always going to go horribly wrong. So we show up to this beautiful, huge house in Kerala, and someone's parents must have rented this for their kids, and there had to have been 40 plus kids here. I mean, one of those nightmare situations.
This is one of those ones where you're like, oh, this is going to be bad.
There are
Yes.
cleaners inside who are like in the worst mood. They're cussing. They can't believe it. The house is trashed. We walk out to the back pool. The pool is a color it shouldn't be. You know, it's like somewhere between like chartreuse and like emerald green. It shouldn't be that color.
This happened in 2 days.
Yeah, in 2 days.
Oh
So
my
Bradley goes to take care of the pool. He's like, this is a big deal. Let me do this. Let's just start you on the hot tub. That was the worst idea. When we opened that hot tub, I mean, just like the smell and the look of it, it was so horrible. And I'm sitting there thinking, why am I doing this? I should have stayed
It's
home.
a real low country boil, if you will.
It was a low country boil. Like the worst
Just say
time.
that.
There's Corona bottles
it
floating,
was-
shrimp
Man.
tails. It gets as bad as
It
it
was
gets,
horrible.
bro.
So as we're doing it, Bradley gives me, you know, a tool that we use to kind of suction out the water and some of the yucky gunk and stuff in there. Some nasty material, an object that remain unnamed. We'll let it
Okay.
remain unnamed on
Unnamed.
this. Definitely came in contact with my body. Some of that water came in contact with my open mouth. And what's funny is you don't realize how much your mouth is open until you do pools. I think there are some people in this world who just walk around with their mouth open. I must be one of those people because you never realize it until you're cleaning a nasty hot tub. And I think I exclaimed at some point, like maybe through tears, maybe not, this is the worst. Dirty water sucks. And that was it. It kind of just stuck from there. We were like, everybody can relate to this at some point
Yes.
in every industry. And that was kind of the birth of it. And we've taken it like to so many cool places. We're using it as a platform to educate people. And, you know, there's a lot. But it's very fun. We are very it's always great to tell the story about it.
That's pretty funny because, like I said, being someone who kind of did it for a couple of months, you know, the beginning of a summer one year. This was, and again, this was about 15, somewhere in there, 13, 14 years ago, somewhere in there. I'm visually picturing in my mind everything
story.
that you just talked about, and I'm like,
It hits you in the feels, you know. It gets you emotionally.
yeah, a
Every
little
pool
bit.
guy can relate
Every
to
pool
it.
guy, yeah.
Every one of us.
And there's probably worse stories too.
And I think that there's a PSA that can kind of go along with this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, any of you that are considering beach week parties or anything like that, and you wonder sometimes how your real estate person, your property management team found out that you were acting a fool, it very well could have been someone with, you know, whether it be the pool vent, you know, the individuals cleaning your pools or whatnot. It could be someone doing maintenance at another house that's noticing this stuff that owns the house next door. Yeah. So you need to keep that in mind. And, you know, you don't want these people. So at the end of it all, if you don't want Mr. Bradley or Miss Chelsey turning you in for having 1,000 people in a house, to the real estate property management team, you probably better not act a fool, and you better keep your pool clean and keep your
beer
spot
bottles
clean.
out of your pool.
Keep the beer bottles out of the
bottles
pool.
out of your pool.
At the end of the day, I've seen houses that have had more cars at them than could hold it.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who have been totally respectful and not trashed a single thing. And when I've showed up at the end of the week, the place has been spotless, even though it should have been destroyed.
Right.
And then I've had people who have chosen not to be respectful to those properties and just demolish them because they felt some kind of way. And the reality of the situation at the end of the day is that it's still somebody's home. Somebody
true.
still has worked their whole life to get to that point. Whether you
right.
see it as a rental house or not, that is still something that somebody has busted their tail to get to. So just show it a little respect and be appreciative of the fact that they opened that home to you to come down to enjoy with your family and friends for your week, 2 weeks, whatever the stay is.
Right. Absolutely.
Amen to that.
Yes. Now let's talk a little bit about, okay, you have this partnership with the aquarium in Maniou.
We do.
What is that? How
Okay.
did you manage to partner with them? That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story how it all kind of come about as well. I had taken my oldest boy down to the inlet, and we were walking on that south side bank as it faces north. On the way out there, we had seen a dolphin kind of playing in the little shell cove there. Two gentlemen were fishing, didn't pay any mind to it. We get out there and come to find out there's a baby dolphin that had stranded itself.
Oh, wow.
Out on the point. Yeah. I had a 1.5-year-old. We're walking around.
At
I'm
the
like,
time,
okay,
yeah.
like, how am I going to do this? So I made a call to a local friend who works at the aquarium, and she's like, this is what I suggest. This is who you need to contact. Called the aquarium, told them what I saw, told them I saw a mother dolphin in the inlet. And she's in distress. And they said there's a 90% chance that's the mother trying to gain help from those two fishermen. Go ahead, if the baby's capable, walk it out, wait it, see if it takes off. And she did just that. And the moment the baby took off, it went right to the mother. She was right there. That kind of led us to a moment of, I would like to try and progress this help and this mission toward kind of making our Outer Banks a better place. And partnering with the aquarium seemed like the best way to do it because not only does dirty water suck in your pool, dirty water sucks in our ocean.
Yes.
It's our home.
And our
it's our
estuaries,
backyard.
everything.
It's our everything. Everybody who lives
got
here, we
goosebumps.
live here because we live on the water, and that's where we want to be.
Right.
And it's up to us to truly take care of that. And dirty water sucks no matter whether it's in your pool, it's in your harbor, your canals, your ocean. Nobody likes going to the beach and seeing a bunch of trash. That's terrible.
That's true.
It's true.
So it's a mission that really does follow not just from the aspect of pools, but into our ocean and our sound life.
Well, and then fast forward, a little bit later. So our son is 3 years old now, and he is just in love with everything ocean animals. He's like a shark aficionado. He loves
Nice.
dolphins, which is
That
really
is
cool.
so
And
cool.
I think it's, we've been able to give him that joy here just based on how we all take care of Outer Banks as a whole around here, but his favorite place in the whole entire world is the aquarium. I think we go there more than anywhere else. He loves the aquarium. He will go in there and he'll walk up to anybody and tell him facts about
I'll start telling them
remora
about the
fish.
creatures.
Dude, that is so cool.
It's hysterical.
And
That's
it
awesome.
kind of hit our hearts. We were like, how do we give back to our community? Because there's so many great companies here that do great things, but they're not always localized. They're helping water in other places, and that's awesome. We wanted something that was, the heart of this community that would directly give back. And it just made sense. It kind of came to us one day and we're like, it has to be the aquarium. So what we're doing right now, we've just established this partnership with them within the last couple of weeks. We are selling our Dirty Water Sucks stickers. We have some really cool new stickers this year. We kind of come up with different things each year, but we've got a neat little pineapple design. And we will be selling them on our website and some other platforms. So just kind of follow us and figure out, as that comes out, how we're going to do that. But a portion of the proceeds from the stickers is going to always be directly donated to the aquarium. And as we build on this, we really want to build out our partnership and how we can support them and then support our local area, whether it's turtles, dolphins, crab, it doesn't matter. We just want to give back to that aspect.
Well, maybe they'll turn around and be like, hey, why don't you come clean the Shark Tank sometime?
Hey, we
I
would
would
be
be elated.
excited.
I truly
Are you
would.
kidding?
Really?
That'd be
Oh
so
my God.
cool.
Oh, man, I was
He's
kind of
always
joking,
wanted
but
to
no.
dive that.
I wanted
yeah.
to dive in that tank since I can remember.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you never know. They
never
might be
know.
like, hey, look, you know what? We're going to, because of your dedication to the cause
Guest
and the
appearance.
money, and the portion of the person, how about we just give you this opportunity as a way to say thank you?
Like I said,
Jump in here and get a brush and let's wipe this
There you
down
go.
as a
Absolutely.
sand tiger swims by you.
That would
Hey,
be
if that
awesome.
opportunity is there, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's so cool.
that's you're much braver than I am. I don't know that I'd do it,
If
but
you're listening, put me in the tank.
there you go.
Yeah.
There
Put 'em
you
in the
go.
tank.
We do a lot of work here at Outer Banks this
Yeah.
week with the aquarium. So
Yep. That's pretty cool.
maybe we can pull that off for you. Maybe we can make a couple of calls. All right. I see this one thing on here. It's the Octo Arms filtration. Is that like the Octo Mom or something? You get the Octo Mom here? No.
I feel
Totally
kinda.
kidding.
I think
Mom's
it's
Octomom.
way it's as efficient as the Octomom, but maybe less drama. We'll say that. A little bit bit less drama.
All right, let's talk about this. This Octo Arms filtration service. What is this?
This is Bradley's complete innovation.
So
I gotta hear it.
I can't say it's a total innovation to the industry because there are a couple gentlemen who have done it in years past. But the difference between me and them is I'm offering it to anybody. And what we're doing is we're taking a secondary filtration system. So let's say that your pool has gotten so thrashed from a beach week that it's not going to make next week's rental. Let's say the pool guy gets there, Saturday morning, and the place is just black and green, and there's nothing that he's going to be able to do chemical-wise, and it needs more filtration.
Can't shock it.
Well, you can shock it
but
until the
it'll
end of
take
the day,
forever,
but it's going to take forever
There's
to get
a
it
4
turned
p.m.
around.
rental checking in, and
Yeah.
they're expecting
You got to
a
remember,
clean
you
pool,
got
and
6 to
it's
7
9
hours to turn
a.m.
a green or black pool back around.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Which is, pretty well impossible.
Okay.
The only way to really increase that is to increase the filtration rate. So what we do is we bring a secondary filtration system out on your pool deck, and we hook that into the pool. So now you have 2 filtration systems running at one time. So quintessentially, it should cut your time, in half, depending on, the weather, the size of the pool, the flow rate of the previous equipment. Like I said, the thing that makes us a little different is we're not holding that just for us. I will use that for anybody, whether you're another pool guy who's just getting slammed or you're a realtor that has a showing that pool has to be cleaned in the next 2 days. It really is open to anybody who truly needs it. And we are happy to, offer that service to everybody who could benefit from it.
Right. Okay.
It's all about supporting the community.
Amen.
Really, that is. That's one of our biggest goals in everything we do. How can we support not just our fellow pool people and people in the industry, everybody here?
See, and that really speaks to me because that's one thing that I'm really trying to move forward with the podcast is trying to be more part of in the community and a part of the community and woven into the fabric, and having you all in here to speak to some of that, what you're trying to do. You have a company, you got a business, you got to make money, you got to be able to survive and live, especially around here, it's a little tough, prices and things of that nature, but you're also trying to figure out a way every day how you can give back to the community, and that to me is it speaks volume, and that's very important. And I'm pleased to have you. I'm very honored to have you all in here to talk about that and how you want to give back. Because all too often everybody's like me. How can I do me? Benefit me. But they don't stop and think about, hey, you know what? Yeah, I got to get mine, but I want to be able to give them theirs.
We just see it as a platform. A business is our platform to really be able to give back in a professional manner. I think Bradley, having grown up here, there's been such a connection in so many different towns, communities, people. When I first moved here, I was just astounded at how many people knew each other, how many people Bradley knew and knew him.
So my wife was like, I knew that guy.
Yeah, that rapport, that camaraderie, the willingness to help your neighbor, which I think falls flat in so many other places of the country and the world. It's still here, it's still alive, and it's the most beautiful thing. So if we can use our business as a platform to propel that, that's an honor to us to be able to do that.
Beautiful. Now, before we go, I want to ask you one more question, all right? I'd kind of like to hear like a little bit of a horror story. Now, I know like you were talking about the dirty water thing. Now, is that like one of your worst experiences? Like, I want to hear like something from the archives where it was like, man, that was a rough clean, or that was I rolled up there and I was like, man, this is not going to be fun. Like,
I think
That's my worst.
the worst one I've ever seen. I got a call from another pool guy. It was a house, has 2 giant hot tubs. The house sleeps, I believe, 60 people.
oh wow,
They had a wedding. He did the midweek the day prior. The owner of this company. So I know it was up to his standards. I got a call at 3:00 in the afternoon from him asking me if I could swing by that property and check on it. They said the hot tubs weren't filtering and the pool was dirty. I walked onto that property. Both the hot tubs were black. The pool was also black. And the renters came out and said, how fast can you have this turned over? And I literally laughed in their face unintentionally because there was no way I was going to be able to get that property back that evening or the next day. I ended up calling 2 other pool techs from 2 other companies to come out there and help me turn that place around because it was just impossible. I refilled the hot tub and the water was still so disgusting in that hot tub. I had to dump it 2 more times to get all the filth out of the actual hosing, and the lines ran through it. So it can get
oh my gosh,
absolutely
I
horrid.
just felt like Johnny Depp and the Black Pearl were gonna like emerge out of
the
it
pool
at some point, and that was gonna be like Pirates of the Caribbean '92 or whatever
Yeah,
version
yeah.
we're on right now.
It could get pretty bad, and at that point, it's just so disrespectful to the people who are servicing the property, the homeowners. It's never necessary to get that far gone.
Yeah.
You should have called us a long time prior to that.
Wow.
And that was probably the worst one I'd ever seen.
Do you remember how long it took you to get it kind of turned back around?
I think it was like a 3-day ordeal where there were, I'm not going to say several, but at least 2 to 3 companies going
on
back
site
on it. We had to backwash that system. I'm pretty sure almost every other hour because it was just tacking itself out as fast as it could filter. And I'm almost positive he had to replace the media in that filter as well. Oh my gosh. Because that was the worst I'd ever seen.
It's like a triage approach, like all these people having to come together. And that's what we said. That's the cool thing about the industry. Even though people are kind of still in competition of each other, it's business. The pool guys really do support each other. They really do have each other's back.
We'll say so, like, but it was not
one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it was nothing for you to pick up and call one of your other guys and be like, "Hey, can you come help me with this
at
real
the point
quick?"
Where one of us calls and you get that phone and go, "Hey, man, I'm in a bad. I really need some help." It for me personally, I know it doesn't really become a question. Baby, I'll be back later.
Yeah,
I'm jumping in the truck and you got to go because we all have that tight timeline to stand to, and it really does make a difference just having a second set of knowledgeable hands out there that can help tackle that problem from the other side. Mm-hmm. And it really does help cut down and help you innovate. Like I said, there are moments where you have guys come out and you're like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, well, let's try this.
Right.
And you're so caught up in the moment, you couldn't think beyond, your own thoughts to get a good solution. Sometimes you truly just need that second set of eyes on it. And there have been, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, where I've just been like, how is this going to happen? And an old head will come on and be like, oh, no, I've seen this 10 times.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're like, please tell me how.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this now. People that might be thinking about using you all as a service that may have a Verbo or an Airbnb or just a property or property management company, where can they find more information about y'all?
So you can always go to our website, www.highseasobx.com. You can give us a call. You can email us. We have all that contact information on our website. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. We use those platforms, obviously, for you to contact us, but we share a lot of education and then some funny stuff on there as well. It's always fun. So that's how you can contact us. We're always available to provide a free quote, walk you through things. I know there's a lot of new homeowners or people that are purchasing homes now that reach out to us. We are a partner with OBAR, so that's a cool thing, the Outer Banks Association of Realtors. So we're a partner with them. But we're always happy to walk potential homeowners through the process too, just what to expect when purchasing a home with a pool. So there's a lot of ways that you can reach out to us, and we're really willing to help in a whole variety of scenarios.
See, look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's an amazing thing. All right. Well, did we leave anything out? Did we forget anything?
We're going to do our shout outs.
Oh, shout outs. Yeah, sorry. We kept thinking about shout outs. Yes, do your shout outs.
So
Let's hear them.
Okay, can I kick it off?
Go for it.
I just have a sweet one. We have to shout out to our 2 little sons. We are so blessed to have like the coolest little boys ever. Just boys.
Yes.
Little all-American beach boys.
They're straight beach rats.
Man,
Nice.
they're so
sandy.
fun. Just wild little children. Hendrix and Cash.
Nice.
They are just
Love the names.
Everything we do, it's all about them, and we're so excited to bring them up in this, community and in this world. So we just want to shout out to our boys, Hendrix and Cash. We love you guys so
Hendrix,
much.
is there
Like Jimi
Jimi?
Hendrix and
Okay.
Cash,
Johnny
like
like
Johnny
Johnny
Cash.
Okay, I just
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
make sure, okay? Because I'm a huge wrestling fan, and my oldest son's name is Austin, and people are like, oh, is
Stone
it like
Cold.
yes,
There you go.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
Love
people are
that.
like, you didn't really name your son after a wrestler. I'm like,
You're
well,
like, yes,
Well,
I did.
I?
I'm like, well, that's the bottom line because I said so.
Yeah.
But anyway, and yeah, so
Tell
I got,
me you
I
put
got
on
2
his
boys.
walkout
That's
music when
great.
you introduced your kid.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love that.
So that was kind of the inspiration, and like my wife's like, no, we're not Carrie. She's like, no, you're not telling people that. I'm like, yeah, but I am, because that's the inspiration behind the name. I'm not going to lie about my child's namesake. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is what it is,
Absolutely.
and he's the nicest, softest, kindest kid you ever meet.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold is the exact opposite.
Polar
so
opposite.
funny.
Yeah, Mr. Bradley, let's hear your shout outs.
I got to give 2 shout outs to 2 gentlemen who have been wonderful figures in my life. The first, I'm going to give a shout out to John over at Pool Builders.
Okay.
I could not go forth in my company without the knowledge that man brings. He is such a highly educated man. It's incredible. Any problem that you have, run it by him. There's a 90% chance he's got another view that is equally as good as a solution, if not sometimes better. And I can't tell you or speak highly enough about that gentleman. Really and truly,
cool.
He's a wonderful asset to me and to anybody who chooses to take advantage of him being there. The other one is got to be Mr. Eric Watkins. He runs Aquarius, and he was a mentor to me for the past 6 years. And I do not have anybody in this world that I respect more for business and just teaching in general, because the guy really opened up a lot of doors for me personally. And I'm just truly grateful to have had the opportunity to work with him. So I got to give a big shout out to him.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we appreciate you guys coming in here today and talking about it. And the people that got the shout outs, I'm sure they're really excited to have that as well. I want to thank you guys again for coming in and hanging out with me and talking about what you all do. And again, not the fact that of course you're always looking to gain new clients. You're always looking to gain new properties, but the way that you pour back into the community and giving back to the aquarium and just the story behind all of that is so touching. How you help that baby dolphin and everything like that is so cool. And just, if you are in need of looking for someone, or you have questions about this type of industry and the pool business and the pool cleanings and stuff, and you need someone to manage your properties, please consider speaking to Miss Chelsey and Mr. Bradley here from High Seas Pools and Spas. And that's highseasobx.com.
That's it. highseasobx.com.
All right, guys, I really appreciate y'all coming in today. Thank you so much. Electricity, something I don't mix well with at all, and that's why I only trust the folks at ELS OBX. ELS OBX offers a variety of services from custom electrical installations to lighting design. ELS OBX has the experience and know-how to complete any job. They're committed to providing the highest quality lighting and electrical installations or service at affordable prices. Visit them online at elsobx.com to get a brighter idea of how shockingly awesome they are. See what I did there? ELS OBX, electrical and lighting solutions you can count on. All right, ELS Electrical. Yes, we just produced a video for them recently, and I had to get electrocuted. Yeah, I stuck like a piece of metal in an electrical socket and got sparked. Okay, so it was a little bit of a dramatic take on it, theatrical stuff there. Again, my buddy Wes was the videographer on the whole project, and he made me look like I was just getting shocked to pieces. But anyway, elsobx.com. Mr. Michael over there, Mr. Aaron, fantastic folks. And if you need any lighting fixtures, any sort of rewiring you need, they just redid, or they're in the process rather of redoing the Lost Colony at the north end of Manio. How cool is that? elsobx.com. All right, let's jump into some events. And all these events that I'm going to mention, they can be found online at outerbanksthisweek.com. Click on the events tab. And again, events, and more events, things for you to participate in. I always like to say, hey, support your local high school athletics, baseball, softball, tennis, golf, even middle school athletics in that regard. And I'm not talking about just here, Manio, First Flight, Hatteras, Currituck. I'm not talking about just in this area. I'm talking about wherever you're listening from. Be a supporter of those events. Support them. Go out. Show those kids some love, okay? Wherever you live, go out there and show those kids some love. All the trivia nights that are going on, as I mentioned every week, Lost Colony Waterfront Beer Garden on Mondays. Let's see, Shipwrecks, Buffalo City Distillery, Sandtrap Tavern, Stripers, Outer Banks Distilling, New Vines. The list goes on and on. Make sure you go online to see the dates and the times of those events at our website at outerbanksthisweek.com. That way you know where to go participate. The live music scene, same thing. outerbanksthisweek.com. Click on the events tab. The aquarium always has tons of things going on. I thought it was really cool how Bradley and Chelsey are giving back to the aquarium in a way. They got these stickers, the Dirty Water Sucks sticker. They actually gave me one. Yeah, I got one. It's pretty cool. And a portion of the proceeds there go back to the aquarium. I thought that was really neat. But yeah, they have a lot of things going on at the aquarium. The Sunday brunch that takes place every Sunday at Cafe Pamlico in Buxton. Oh, gosh, the list goes on and on for all the weekly events that are kind of reoccurring. But I do want to kind of shout out to Outer Banks Taste of the Beach happening this coming weekend. Lots of different things going on. And you really need to, if you can get tickets, get them, because this is something that goes. It goes. The tickets for these events go, okay? So I would suggest getting them now. Don't wait till this weekend to try to walk up to a business and be like, oh, yeah, I'm at the brewing station and they've got the chowder cook-off going on. That event sells out. Okay, If it's not sold out right now, I'd be surprised. But don't walk up and try to get tickets at the door because you're not going to be able to get them. I suggest you go online and get your tickets for anything Outer Banks Taste of the Beach related. The Lost Colony, the 6th annual Lost Colony Wine, Beer, and Culinary Arts Festival is happening this Saturday, April 13th from 2 to 5 at the Lost Colony Waterside Theater. Should be well lit because, like I said, ELSOBX did all the lighting up there. Safe Harbor's Fishing Flea Market's happening this Saturday, April 13th from 8 till 2 at Safe Harbor Marina in Wanchese to benefit the Outer Banks SPCA. Definitely really, really cool event and really cool thing that they're doing there. I know that I was talking to Miss Hillary about it down there the other day, and she's really excited for it. I believe there's still some rental space available if you want to sell your things. Like I said, it's a fishing flea market. Captain Marty's been telling us about it for a few weeks now. So go on out there and hang out and have a good time and see what kind of fishing stuff they have. A couple more things going on locally, like the Flying Pirate Half Marathon weekend is taking place Friday, April 19th through Sunday, April 21st. You can go online to obxse.com for more information. Outer Banks Bike Week starts April 20th through the 28th. Events taking place all over from Harbinger, the Outer Banks Harley and Harbinger, to, let's see, Longboards normally has something. I believe Lucky 12 will have something. A lot of the businesses up and down the beach have a little, they'll do like a poker run. I know Vertigo Tattoo in Mans Harbor always has a big party. So Bike Week coming up April 20th through the 28th. And of course, we've got the ESA Mid-Atlantic Surf Regional Championships happening the 26th, 27th, and 28th at Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head. If you like surfing, you like to shred on those gnarly waves, brah. Yeah. Going out there and have fun and enjoy that competition. I know that WRV set up out there a lot of times. There's a lot of other businesses that set up out there. And of course, if you happen to see my buddy Bodie at Jeanette's Pier, Bodie, fantastic guy. Tell him his brother Roach here at Outer Banks This Week said what's up. That's just kind of a quick sum up of the events that are taking place locally here on the Outer Banks. If you have any events, though, if you know of any events that are going on the Outer Banks, email them to me, please. I don't want to leave them off. I want to get them on our website. I want to do all these things. Podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Let me know about them. Send me an email, podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Let me know about these events because I don't want to miss them. I want to make sure that they get talked about, and you know I'm going to do it. You know I will. All right, we're going to wrap things up here in just a little bit, but first I want to hear from my buddy Ryan Walker over at Wanchese Off-Road Performance Diesel. Really cool story. He's had that dream of a diesel performance shop since we were in high school. He's a high school friend of mine. He's actually a childhood friend of mine. We were neighbors. One of my best friends in the world. I still think of him as one of my best friends, and I can't thank him enough for being a sponsor of the show. So Wanchese Off-Road Performance Diesel.
When it comes to general maintenance or major modifications on your diesel vehicle, look no further than Wanchese Off-Road Diesel Performance in Kill Devil Hills. Master mechanic Ryan Walker developed the plan for having his own auto shop over 20 years ago, and today he owns the premium diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks. To have him and his crew take a look under your hood, give him a call today at 252-715-0025 or find him on social media. Wanchese Off-Road Diesel Performance, the diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks.
All right. I don't believe I forgot anything. I think I hit all points on the podcast this week, which is episode 59. If I missed anything, again, podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Let me know because I try to remember it all. I keep a little template in front of me with what's going on, the events, everything like that. I have a printout that I carry with me when I'm doing the podcast. That way I don't miss anything, but there's still that chance that I will. Podcast at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. I want to thank Chelsey and Bradley for coming in again. We learned a lot about the pool business and how invested they are into staying ahead, learning the latest technology, being in the community. And they're just fantastic people all the way around. Enjoyed having them in. And maybe this summer, I'll have them come in and do a midsummer check and see how things are going for them this summer. Man, we'll see. We'll talk about that. But I want to thank them again for coming in. HighSeasOBX.com if you are looking for someone to service your pool, your hot tub, whatever the case may be. HighSeasOBX.com. Next week, I'm going to have Kelly Midget from Kelly's Automotive in Mania to come in. They got a big car show coming up at the beginning of May, so I look forward to having him in to be on the show with me. Kelly's a piece of work now. He and Dakota's, I don't know Dakota as well as I know Kelly, but Kelly is a funny dude. He is a piece of work, and I can't wait to get him in here to have some fun with me. We're going to have a good time talking about the car show. We'll probably end up talking about what's going on the car lot, how he goes about getting his cars and things of that nature, because I like to say this: you come on vacation, you can always leave with new transportation at Kelly's Automotive. All right, that's going to wrap things up for me. Outer Banks This Week podcast, episode number 59. Again, all brought to you by Kelly's Automotive. Cars, trucks, SUVs, the used car king of the Outer Banks. He's been in the game for 14, almost 15 years. My man knows a thing or two about cars on the Outer Banks. Check him out online at Kelly'sOBXAuto.com. All right, I'm out the door. I will check in. Hey, next week, episode number 60. What a way to have episode 60 with Kelly's Automotive. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, in the words of my dear friend, the late, great Freestyle Bob, later.
This has been another radical edition of the Outer Banks This Week podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow us on social media, and listen every Thursday for a new episode.